Okay, welcome. As I said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Anshuman Bapna. I am the founder and CEO of Terra.do and also the program director for the upcoming cohort that starts in just a couple of days' time. The cohort's name is Tapirs. And for some of you who are familiar with what we do, we name each of our cohorts after endangered species. And unfortunately, Tapirs is also one of them. So if you join the next cohort, you become a Tapir and you become a Tapir for life. You will often see Terra alums introducing themselves as names of animals. I've been in business meetings, fairly formal settings, where someone walks up to me and says, "Hey, I'm a rhino," or "Hey, I'm a elephant," and that's totally fine. This is how we identify ourselves, and we have a very packed agenda today. I have a couple of slides that I would walk through about what the Learning for Action program is all about. But we, more importantly, have two amazing alums from Terra's program, Caro and Yingting, and they would get between 5 to 7 minutes each to talk about their stories. But the idea is for us to very quickly move into a Q&A session and Q&A mode. This is very much an opportunity for all of you who have been thinking about potentially joining Terra in an LFA, Learning for Action, in the next cohort to ask all the questions that you have. So with that, let's get started. And Shams, I would really appreciate if you could let people in while I start talking through my slides. And while we do that, while I pull up my slides, everyone, if you don't mind just writing in the chat box where you're dialing in from today. It'll be amazing to see where all you're coming in from. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my slides. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So just to quickly introduce myself, as I said, I'm the founder and CEO of Terra. I live in Palo Alto, California, with two of my kids and my wife, who is also working in climate. She's a civil engineer working on sustainable construction. And my two kids are 16 and 11. And a big reason why I do what I do and why I started this company with two of my co-founders 5 years ago. So today we're going to talk about this program, Climate Change Learning for Action. This is a 12-week journey that is designed to help you kickstart your transition into climate or to deepen the work that you already do in climate. So what is this, first of all? So this is this, think of it as an accelerator. It's 12 weeks long. The idea is to actually get you through this entire arc of from learning to doing. This program we started 5 years ago. It has now run through 32 cohorts and almost 4,000 plus graduates across 86 plus countries. This is a very global program by design, and you'll run into people from very different walks of life, both professionally, from a skill standpoint, but also the life experiences that they have had. And that's the beauty of the program and the community. It's asynchronous, which means that we've created these high quality classes that get unlocked every Sunday that you can read on your own time. But it's also interactive, which means that we have two major things that happen every week, which is we do live guest talks where people, top climate experts, come in and do deep dives, but also we do expert-led live labs. And this is a more intimate, smaller setting between 20 to 30 people in each lab that where you would be with an instructor who has a lot of facilitation experience and climate experience to strengthen your learning and to build global community. Now, one of the questions we do get asked is how much time should you allocate for this? I would say this is a relatively intense program. So fellows typically spend between 6 to 10 hours per week. Uh, I know all of you have busy lives, so you can fit that into a weekend. You could fit that a couple of hours every day, whatever works for you. And it's okay. You'll find that rhythm over a period of time as the program progresses. And the last and a very important value for us is that you have lifetime access to all of the content in the program. And we update this content on a regular basis because the speed at which climate is developing requires us to update this almost on a monthly basis, which means that even 6 months from now or 2 years from now, if you want to come back and you are about to interview for a job which is to do, say, with carbon markets, you can come in and look at the freshest version of the carbon markets class and just get yourself updated again. Now, this is and this is something I use this word not lightly, which is that this is a transformational journey that accelerates climate action. So we do three things. One is we help you build climate literacy skills. Now, I'm assuming a lot of you came in expecting that, but I think one of the interesting things is that in addition to foundational knowledge, we help you apply systems thinking and also social and be able to assess social justice impacts. Uh, then we also, this is a very, very important, and in fact, I would say the heart of what we do, which is we help you build community. We help you find a tribe of other people that you can trust, that you can engage with, and that you can potentially collaborate with as you go deep into your climate work. And this is not just the cohort itself, but all our alumni, thousands of alumni who have graduated across all these years are accessible and they look forward to hearing from you. And finally, and this is the most important part, and it's kind of baked into our name, which is Terra.do, which is we help you identify what needs to be done in the climate space and where you might fit in with your skills and with your passions, with where you live, etc. So this is actually a better way to talk about what the journey looks like, that it's a roller coaster. And it's a roller coaster because I think a lot of us are here because we deeply care about what's happening with our climate systems. And we just had a paper come out yesterday on how coral reefs are beyond a tipping point now. And this is, it's so we have a sense of the enormity of the problem. But the reality is that we actually first take a couple of weeks to truly understand all the dimensions of this crisis. So what that means is that you're going down a roller coaster and not necessarily feeling the best about it because you're understanding the deep climate science behind what we know. We also start to see climate impacts from a bunch of different perspectives, and that's where the global nature of the cohort really helps. But that's when we start picking up after that, when we start talking about what might be solutions out there. And we give you a systems lens to think about them. And we talk about adaptation in a very major way because we are definitely living in a world where that has become a very important priority for the vast majority of humanity. We talk about mental models, how to think about them. We talk about how policy works, how economics dictate how we got into the crisis and how we might get out of the crisis. And we have a very strong social justice lens that embeds everything that we do from there on. After that, we do a deep dive on specific solution areas. So energy systems, for example, we spend almost 2 weeks talking about that because they are the bulk of our emissions. And we do spend almost as much time with food systems as well, because that's also one of the very under appreciated areas, both of the crisis, but also of the opportunity. We talk, there's a lot of work that we do around researching different solutions by ourselves. We talk about climate finance. We talk about carbon offsets, what corporates and large organizations can do. And most importantly, towards the end, we leave you with what we call a work plan, which is a very specific plan that you write in collaboration with your group and with your instructors. That is your commitment to find climate action. There is a lot more detail around that that I'm happy to go into during the Q&A. But this is, I like to bring this up because we do this survey at the beginning and at the end of every cohort, which is how do you feel about climate change? And the word cloud that you would see at the beginning has anxiety, despair, hopelessness, often written, sadly, right at the center of the word cloud. By the time this 12 week is over, this is where we find our graduates, and this is where we hope to find you as well. Um, I know the one of the important questions I wanted to address is about outcomes. So while I have some statistics that I'll talk about in just a bit, but I think the main thing to understand is that LFA graduates climate leaders. These are people who go get great jobs. They start impactful businesses. In fact, our estimate is that we've had almost 100 for-profit and non-profit startups come out of LFA. In fact, even a political party, which actually won a couple of seats in the UK elections a couple of years ago. Um, and they go on to lead influential climate movements, build great communities. But in general, they get the skill to communicate effectively to everyone around them in their sphere of influence what climate change is all about and what the solutions for that might look like. Now, I know a lot of people here are hoping to transition into a climate job. So these are, I mean, our experience having now graduated thousands of learners and having them find all these incredible things to do is that you do need climate literacy. I think that's something all of you are familiar with. But the very, very critical thing to have is a community that can help you find connections, that can help you collaborate on projects, and essentially help you have your back when things don't look so good as you go down your climate job search path. So we have a ton of support for job seekers. So we have live career and networking sessions that we offer. These are some examples where everything from helping you rewrite your resume for the climate world to understanding the landscape of who's hiring right now for what kind of roles. There are a bunch of career coaching that we have an excellent instructor, Radhika, who runs. There's a lot of cross cohort networking, and that's, by the way, a lot of how new opportunities arrive as well. And we, of course, run a climate job board that gives us insights into who's hiring, and we have a ton of relationships with organizations as well. Uh, uh, in addition to that, there are a couple of things that stay with you not just during the program but after that as well. One of them is that we have a huge number of talks that happen on a weekly basis and have been happening for a long time by alumni like Caro and Yingting who have made this transition happen. And they talk about practical skills, tips and tricks, etc., that work for them. We also have this incredible mentorship program, which has almost 300 mentors across the world who have been in climate for typically 5 to 10 years at the minimum, who you can set up one-on-one time with and get career connections and so on. There's also this incredible community, and you'll find this community actually sticks together quite a bit. In fact, what I'd love to see is that every month there are at least 4 to 5 to 10 in-person meetups happening by Terra alumni across different parts of the world, from the Bay Area to Berlin to Bangalore. So it's a very vibrant community. And just thought I would share some stats about job outcomes specifically. So this is for data for about 2,200 people between 2020 and 2023. Roughly half of the graduates were working in full-time climate roles already by when we did the analysis. And on top of that, especially the cohorts which are kind of have been earlier cohorts, that rate goes up as much as 2/3 after 18 months of graduating from the program. More importantly, it trains leaders. So 25% of career transitions were individuals who either founded organizations or are doing senior level leadership role at large organizations. And I think this number about hired more than, so at least 70 organizations have hired more than one Terra.do fellow. and 7 have hired 4 or more. And this number is actually a little outdated already, but this is an incredible network that you're part of. I am going to wrap up pretty quickly, but we have a ton of amazing alumni stories, and we can get into some of them. These are some of the companies that have gotten started out of Terra. And maybe I'll just give you like deep dive into what a week in the life looks like. So, as I mentioned, that this is a hybrid model where classes are unlocked every Sunday, and you can read them over the course of the week. But Monday, typically, there are coffee chats and career sessions, and these are optional, but they're all recorded. Tuesday, there are live lab groups, and this is the one that we would love for you to make sure that you can attend every single time. This question comes up often. We actually offer lab times across 6 or 7 slots across the entire day to accommodate learners in all parts of the world. So don't worry, you will be able to find a lab time that suits you. And if there are times that you're actually traveling or something comes up, that's okay. Everything is recorded as well. On Wednesdays, we do guest sessions. So these are the expert deep dives that I had mentioned. There are then 2 more optional things that happen on Thursday and Friday, which is a deep dive lab with your instructor. And also on Friday, we help the cohort connect with each other through some interesting social get-togethers and so on. In between, there are assignments, and there's a lot of reading material, etc. And there's a Slack community where all of this is getting discussed all the time. So think of it almost like a very engaging classroom where you have a lot of control over how you spend time. But the idea is to also learn a lot in a very short period of time. Uh, I know this is the scary slide about assignments. I think all of us thought that we were done with them after high school and university, but we do have assignments, and actually there are 5 required ones, and 3 individually and 2 in teams. There's a lot more detail about that, but the first one that you get to see is actually amazing. Is this assignment 1, which is we call it the 2040 assignment, and it's basically a visioning exercise. And as you can see from the prompt is it's the year 2040. The climate crisis has been solved. Tell us what happened and the role that you played in it. So this is a way to kind of just get our creative juices flowing and go from this place of despondency to a place of agency and action. Yeah, so that's what's so just in terms of logistics, our next cohort is coming up right across from in a couple of days' time. So our application deadline is tomorrow midnight Pacific time, and our if some of you have already applied, our payment deadline is a day after that, so it's October 16th, and the cohort itself starts on October 20th. Remember, if you're thinking about making this financially possible for you, our main goal is to get anyone who's interested in working in climate to be able to come in. So we offer financial aid that you might have already, if you haven't filled out your application, please do ask for that. And Shams, my colleague here, would make sure that we get back to you as quickly as possible. You can also pay in installments. And this last one, which is very important for us, which is the first 3 weeks, you can at any point in time, if you think that this program is not working well for you because of logistics or you don't like the program, that hasn't happened much, but in case that happens, you can ask for a full 100% refund, no questions asked. And in case you're wondering if this is not the right cohort for you, our next iteration of this cohort will start in Jan. Just maybe I'll just call out the last one, which is so we have a bunch of keynotes, a bunch of speakers that come in, but the keynote is always special. So this time I'm very excited to have our friend and mentor, Danny Kennedy, to give a talk on October 22nd. He's a veteran clean tech entrepreneur and ecosystem builder, and he's just a fire hose of ideas and energy. So whether you decide to join this cohort or not, this keynote is open to everyone. So please do come by. Danny is just incredible. And we've had some incredible people. Dr. Zach, who is a climate scientist, he came in for the previous cohort. Belen, who is doing some incredible work with Pachamama in the Amazon Sacred Headwaters Initiative with the Native American, with the Amazonian leaders there. She gave this incredible talk, the cohort before that. And Dr. Fadl Kaboub talked about a Pan-African vision for what sustainability could look like. So these are incredible people that come into the program at all times. With that, I'll stop sharing and um, yeah, so I think we'll have lots and lots of questions. We'll leave time for that in the end. But if I would now like to invite our alumni to come in and talk about themselves. So first, I would maybe I can just quickly invite Caro Westberg. Uh, Caro lives in Madrid, and she's doing some really interesting things in fashion. I will let her introduce herself and the work that she's doing. And I think she won't mention this, so I will mention this, that she's a Fulbright scholar who's done some incredible work across innovation and communities and so on. So, Carol, please introduce yourself, tell us about the work that you do, and please talk about your LFA journey, both before, during, and after.
Yeah, thank you. It was really fun to see the Terra content again, actually. It was bringing back memories from when I did this open house a couple of years ago. So, I've been reflecting, I think, on the impact that Terra has had since I did it. I was actually just looking at the action plan that I made coming out of Terra, and it's really cool because I've done all of the things that I put into that action plan. And so it had a major impact on my life, and I can speak to that a little bit. But yeah, so I'm originally from the US, and I spent most of my career working in food tech startups. Um, and I had always been circling the climate space. Like I had gone to a lot of meetups. I was very involved in work on climate. I was volunteering for a lot of organizations. And I had really wanted to make the transition to fully working on climate, but I think I maybe had some imposter syndrome, maybe not having the language or what my role was in the space. And I had heard about Terra, actually multiple times through people in the work on climate community in Seattle. And simultaneously, I was applying to go back to school with the Associated Fulbright grant. So I had this gap where I left my job and I took the leap actually before I knew that I got the grant to go back to school and decided to just like fully commit. I was really lucky to be able to do that at the time. And I was actually living in South America while I was doing Terra. So I had almost like a new environment around me that I was absorbing and learning and participating in Terra for the 12 weeks. Um, and it was genuinely such an incredible experience. I think, yes, that roller coaster of emotions is very real. You kind of take the deep dive, but you're doing it with a group of people who are equally as passionate as you. So I think that support network, while you're really being exposed to the reality, not that we all aren't exposed to the reality, but getting your hands into it, and hearing from incredible speakers. But I think it was a reflective period for me to say, like, what is my role in this journey of working in climate moving forward? And then also being exposed to just some incredible people that I have since stayed in touch with. So I think throughout the whole Terra experience, I realized my sort of ikigai. You do the ikigai workshop and understanding like what is, your unique skill set and what is needed from the world and how can you bring that all together into the impact that you want to have. And I converged in this space of climate entrepreneurship, which allowed me to then go into my master's program with a very clear vision, actually. And Tara gave me that vision. And so I kind of hit the ground running when I started my MBA program. And I have now referred or met multiple people through Terra that live in Madrid and in Barcelona and in Spain. And in fact, several of my classmates did Terra. And so we've actually like formed our own community and have run a couple of events here in Madrid, which it's a small but mighty group. And even just yesterday, I got a message on LinkedIn from a Terra alum who went to my school and we're connecting next week. So it's like it's constantly giving connection even after the program ends. Um, and I think one other call out before I share, I guess, what I'm doing now is I met an amazing woman named Anu through Terra, and I loved what she was doing. She was building a climate accelerator for women, and I wanted to work with her. So I did a sort of like volunteer project with her before I went back to school, supporting them on finding resources and grants for non-dilutive funding for their participants. And that was like such a highlight coming out of this experience because Anu was someone I kind of envisioned myself being someday. And I really wanted to work with her and see what she was doing and support the work she was
Amazing.
doing. And now I am actually sort of building out my own version of this actively as my full-time job. So it's the full circle. I keep going back to Terra because it's really unlocked that for me. So now I'm working, I guess, on climate in a lot of ways. I'm working with an EU project called Sinovate, which is focused on circularity in cities for higher ed institutions. With the European Institute of Technology and Climate Kick, and the Startup Accelerator and conference called South Summit. And we're really focused on how can we better support students and staff and faculty that are building ventures in circularity, but also technology transfer between universities and industry and public-private partnerships, and really training like the next generation of students to work in this space. So it's been incredible to work on that. And then I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I'm also working on my own venture. It's very early stage. We just had a pitch competition yesterday, focused on circular fashion. And so I think I was really able to find this like sweet spot for myself through Terra and continue to stay connected to it. I actually, even in my classes, my MBA classes, I was like dual had the Terra courses up on my screen that I had taken and was like looking back at some things that I was able to contribute to class, especially around climate finance, sustainable finance. It was really cool to connect the dots. And yeah, I will always probably be involved in Terra. I'm a hippo, which is actually my favorite animal, so it felt very special when they told me that we were the hippos cohort. Um, and yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions at the end, and you more than welcome to connect with me offline as well. But overall, an incredible journey.
Thank you, Caro. Really appreciate that, and glad to hear that there are quite a few people in Madrid and Barcelona as well from the Terra community.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, Arjun, anyway, he is like a mentor at my school for any student that wants to work on climate. And he's like a career advisor and a mentor for startups, and he did Terra. So him and I, like, I think it's been really cool to see that connection because it just is this underlying source of, you went through the same thing and you get to keep going back to that. So definitely a growing community here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Caro. And I know folks might have questions for Caro. Please just hold on to them for just a few more minutes. I next wanted to introduce Yingting. Yingting, I would again love to have you introduce yourself, your background, your journey, and maybe even any tips and tricks for people who are thinking about joining this program, how to kind of make the most of it. Over to you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Yingting. I'm based in Seattle. I'm currently engineering manager, software engineering manager at a company called Euclid Power, and we provide a platform and services for project management. for renewable energy projects, and we accelerate the projects and energy transition. So before this job, I worked at another climate-related company, which is called Afresh. We built software for grocery chains to AI-powered software for grocery chains to reduce food waste and optimize operations by forecasting demand for them. So experience, my journey with Terra started about like almost 3.5 years ago. So it was early 2022, and I was in the Salamander cohort. I was on a career break. I started my career at Google and then worked at a couple of big tech companies. And gradually, I just like grew tired of the big tech jobs because I didn't feel connected to like the so-called missions of these companies. And I have always been a nature lover, and I feel very sad when I see the impact of climate change on nature, but I didn't know what I could do with my professional skills. Um, so yeah, eventually at some point I decided to take a break from big tech jobs and explore more opportunities. And that's when I came across Terra.do. Um, so I think the highlights from my experience are mainly like two things. One is the depth of the knowledge in the Terra lessons. Um, so they not only like help me just learn more about climate and climate solutions in general, but also help me in deciding on my next job. When I did that round of job search, I applied to a very um, diverse set of jobs. They're all like software engineering jobs, but they were in like all sorts of sectors, from nature-based carbon credits to um, things related to like decarbonizing the electrical grid, and also Afresh, which works on food waste reduction. So when like deciding which job to take, I found Tara's course material very helpful for helping me like understand the sectors and the solutions, especially nature-based carbon credits and the electrical grid, which are very complex areas. Um, and the second highlight is the network and the community. So the cohort I was in was formed by like people from everywhere, US, Europe, India, and China, and like yeah, like all sorts of places. Um, and um, yeah, I got connected with um, the like product manager at Afresh, who I worked very closely with. Eric Lee, he actually still does resume review for with Terra. He's great. But anyways, we were in the same cohort, and after I joined Afresh, I also found that like there were multiple people who had taken Terra courses. So that allow us to like have a little deeper connection on top of this coworker relationship. Um, and Yeah, after that, when I was doing my recent round of job search, I also found just like um, many mutual connections through the Terra community, which was very helpful nowadays in job applications because, yeah, if you just apply online, there are usually like hundreds of people in the queue. And if you want to get a response sooner, you would want like to connect through someone. Um, and yeah, one other thing I want to mention, and maybe this also counts as a tip, is to like leverage the Terra mentorship community. Um, so yeah, also I found this most helpful in my last round of job search, where I was debating between jobs in different sectors, and I reach out to experts in those sectors in Terra's mentorship network, and got more like in-depth um, understanding of those sectors. Um, yeah, so definitely recommend leveraging that and reaching out to experts. And I think that's about it from my experience. Yeah, happy to answer any questions afterwards.
Thanks, Yingting. And I didn't realize that both of you have a Seattle connection. It's kind of fortuitous. I don't know if you've met. No, okay, there you go. Uh, no, thank you, Yingting. And both Afresh and Euclid are some of my favorite companies. The kind of work that they're doing in climate and the kind of solutions that they are pushing are just incredible. Um, so with that, wanted to open it up for questions from folks. Feel free to raise your hand on Zoom. I'll call you out, or just type them in the chat. And both Yingting and Caro, I would love for you to take a stab at those answers, because this is very much an opportunity for everyone to hear from alumni as opposed to me giving my spiel. But I'm happy to jump in for any logistical or specific questions that people might have. So with that, open for questions, and maybe yeah. So just raise your hand, and I'll ping you. And feel free to kind of just type them in the chat as well. Even as questions come in, I think maybe one of the things that is definitely something that I've heard from folks. Oh, sorry, Chris, when did you say the next cohort is scheduled? The next cohort is scheduled for end of January. So we basically run this cohort once every quarter. And is there a schedule of cohort start dates? So assume that at the beginning of every quarter, we have a start date. Because it's so global, because there's so many holidays, et cetera, it's hard to kind of pin an exact date. But imagine Jan, April, and so on as kind of the start dates for subsequent cohorts. Yeah, I see Anand, your hand up, and please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, hi. Firstly, thanks for this. Um, my question is around job opportunities in product management. So I already am a product leader in that space, but I was trying to go through jobs, and a sense I got is maybe there are not enough opportunities. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wanted to get a sense. Then if I'm probably very keen on this course, but then would I need to switch from product to something else? Is that a mindset, or probably not the right assumption I have? Let me know if it's not clear.
Anand, if you could also tell us which geography you're in.
I'm currently in India, but I was earlier in Germany, and I'm probably looking to go back to Europe.
Yingting or Caro, do you want to kind of have, I mean, Yingting, you were in the job market not too far back, maybe not for an exact role like that. But any thoughts?
Yeah, my thinking is if you're talking about software product management, I think it's a pretty um, like generally applicable skill, just like software engineering. And I don't know so much about the job market out of US, but I feel like in US there are many opportunities in like at the intersection of software and climate. Um, I think one one thing like software or AI can do for climate is like really um, optimizing the process in many traditional industries like food and also like energy construction.
Actually, this is also the question that I was going to start out, which is the job market right now for
Mhm.
climate jobs. And I'm sure this is on the minds of a lot of people. So we've definitely seen a slowdown in jobs, both coming up on our job board and obviously the volume of people who are also interested in those jobs has also increased, especially in a place like the US, where there have been a lot of retrenchment in big tech and now even in government and so on. So in that sense, this has become definitely a much harder time for jobs, especially in the US in the climate sector. What we do see is that maybe two variants on that. One is that there are pockets of strengths. So as Yingting mentioned, that there are certain sectors which are going gangbusters. Energy storage, for example, is one area where this is still a very big area right now. And second is that we're seeing a lot of organizations actually hire or upskill individuals internally for sustainability work that they need to anyhow be delivering. And that is actually a lot more under the radar, does not show up as on the job boards. But as Terra, we do work. We work with about 30 different organizations, including the World Bank, including Amazon, Google, etc., to upskill their employees. And what I see often happening is we being pulled in to get product managers working at Google, for example, to think about sustainability in a more strategic way. So hopefully that answers a little bit of your question.
Yes, thank you.
Ravi Chandra, and then after that we'll shift to chat questions. So Ravi, and you're on mute.
Yes. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for the talk. And it's quite interesting that meeting the previous cohort. So I was just wondering, like, I am a senior consultant, basically working at the space of climate change and sustainability and biodiversity. I've been working for it's more than 10 years as of now. So I have a PhD in ecology and environmental sciences. I'm currently based in India. So I'm just wondering, like basically I'm more interested towards building a startup, climate startup. So I'm just wondering, like, how Terra.do, how, I mean, by this fellow, pursuing this fellowship. So how will it be effective, for a person like me who has already been into the climate science for quite number of years, or, the past. So yeah, so I'm just wondering, like, I do understand the community part, the community, this thing, but I'm just wondering whether how in probably in you say the technology or the maybe getting funding, so or maybe planning, especially right from the start, and then seeing through the process. And so I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, like,
Yeah.
yeah, so just wanted to know more about your fellowship. And I would
Correct.
also probably,
Sorry.
yeah, sorry, actually, it's a little bit lengthy question because, I'm trying to just, put out my thoughts, basically simultaneously, while framing the question. So I'm also quite interested to take part, volunteer for, Terra.do in case if, because I've been into this space, for quite long. So I've been forestry and biodiversity. Yes. Thank you.
Uh, I was just going to invite Carol to see if you want to take a stab at it, and then I'm happy to jump in with some more details.
Yeah. So I think the course material gave me the language to speak confidently to anyone in the ecosystem. So I think if you're working to look for investors, for example, I think but I mean, you've been working in this space for a while, so maybe it's not as relevant, but I would say like the depth of knowledge, as mentioned earlier, like the course materials are really in depth, actually far more than I've seen in really any other course that I've taken in this space. I also would say there's a whole module on finance, which I thought was really valuable for me. And then the third piece is I know you mentioned, the community element, but I will say that has like surpassed my expectations, particularly because, you get access to this network that you can connect with for mentorship, and there's people from so many different backgrounds. So if you're looking to be more on the entrepreneurship side, can guarantee that there's tons of other founders and investors, people working in climate finance or climate VC. Like I would say that's a really strong component of this. Um, and it's opened up doors for me as well, like in that climate entrepreneurship space. Like I've definitely made more connections, and I think that the Terra name also holds weight. Like when you're talking to people, it's sort of this signal to, what you're talking about and you've gone through this journey. And so it does hold weight. And I would say, even though I took the course in the US, or that's how I found out about it, I'm in Europe now, and it carries that weight. I'm not sure if that's helpful, but that was my perspective and experience.
That's great, Carol. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe
Thank you.
the quick thing that I would add is that the last one third of the program has 4 doing tracks. And the 4 doing tracks are to find a climate job. Second is to start a climate organization, which is, Ravi, kind of your question. Third is around bringing climate to what you already do. And fourth is activism and volunteering. And each of those tracks has actually a bunch of programming, which is focused on, for example, helping you go from 0 to 1 stage, helping you find collaborators, helping you find, do customer discovery very quickly within the community itself, and so on. And same on the volunteering side as well. We have this fantastic partnership with the Pachamama Alliance that actually talks about what it means to be a volunteer who has a lot of impact in the spaces that you inhabit. So there's a ton of resources that are available for that too. Maybe I'll just pick up a question from chat here. I think there's one question which is along the lines of what is it that, and this is both Carol for you and Yingting, what is the one thing that you wish you knew before going into the program that would have helped you get the most out of it?
It's a good question. Yingting, do you have an answer for it, or do you want me to take a stab?
I don't have an answer on top of my head. So yeah, please.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say maybe prepare. I think that the emotional journey, don't underestimate that. I think we all may be circling the space, or maybe you're already working in the space, but I do think it's, the expect that downfall at first, but know that there is a bright side on the opposite side of the bottom of the roller coaster. And you feel really empowered at the end. You really do. I think, I was taking this course, I was actually spending some time with my parents, and they could noticeably see and reflected back to me that I was I was a little bit low for a period of time, and I was talking a lot about what I was learning. I was processing it. I was sharing with them, and we started getting into more of the solution space. And I actually love that about Terra, that it's really focused on like, let's really deeply understand what's happening right now, and where we stand before we get to solutions, because I think it makes the impact so much more tangible, and real, and your commitment to the fight is a lot stronger in that way. So yeah, I would say the one of the highlights for me also was we did have sessions on eco-resilience, which was a new term for me, but actually really powerful. Like, how can you stay resilient if you're working in this space in the long run? Um, and an amazing, I don't know if she's still actually is still teaching at Terra, maybe you can share, but she's living out on I think Orcas Island, or Anacortes, and she is just like an incredible speaker and teaches on eco-resilience and how you can reflect and sort of like own that journey moving forward. So yeah, I would say the roller coaster, be prepared for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have a better answer myself. I feel like if you like start the course with a goal in mind, then you might get more out of it. Like to start your venture or like find a job. Um, then I guess you can like target your effort and like um your yeah, who you reach out to, target those better. But even if you don't have a clear goal in mind, I think you're like um, still just gradually like find your direction throughout the course, because it's a like 3 months course and you have plenty of time to explore. Um, Also, I really like Carol's answer of like prepare for the emotional journey. I think that's very important to stay positive.
Thank you. And that's a roller coaster. Uh, Kobe, I know your hand has been up for a while. Please unmute yourself and ask.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so again, hello, I'm Kobe from the Philippines. I'm actually an early career forestry graduate, and in fact, I just graduated this year, and I land on a teaching assistant job while taking master's in wood science. At the moment, like after graduating from this program, my initial plan is to apply for freelance online climate jobs to maximize my experience for this fellowship program. But I'm kind of curious if are there numerous opportunities in the case that I'm asking? I mean, in the specific case that I'm asking, I just wanted to manage my expectation. But in the near future, I wanted to fully transition into climate jobs because I'm really passionate about pursuing it.
Kobe, just to clarify, yeah, your question is about specifically jobs in Philippines.
Not specifically in the Philippines, but I wanted to land on freelance online jobs. Are there any opportunities for that in climate sector?
Maybe I can take this one a little bit. So I think in general, there has been a slowdown in climate hiring across the board. So I think that's true for definitely US, parts of Europe as well. The one place where we've actually seen that not happen is Asia in general. And so, for example, we have a bunch of alums from the Philippines who have themselves started a bunch of climate and data science companies. And I'm happy to kind of, if you drop me a line, I'm happy to connect you to some of them for you to get a better sense of on the ground what's happening. But given that you're also looking for jobs that are remote as well, on our job board, we explicitly track remote openings. And that is especially in the time of now where a lot of these functions are getting built out in this kind of distributed way, that seems to be also holding steady. So do take a look at that. But again, drop me a line if I can connect you to more folks.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Dami, right?
Dami, yes,
Thanks for
please.
this. Thanks for this presentation. I have a similar background as Ravi. I have a PhD in forest ecology, and I'm currently at UCLA doing my MBA. That's because I'm interested in the intersection of nature and finance. Could you, my question is, could you speak to previous alums that have gone on to climate finance, what kind of opportunities they've kind of pursued? And maybe Caroline could chip in as well.
Uh,
Go
Gary,
ahead,
you want?
Anshuman.
Okay. So climate finance is a very big sector for us, and of course, climate finance is like obviously multiple things, right? It's everything from uh, the risk side of it to the investment side of it, and then the accounting side of it. And accounting, for example, is something that we've seen a lot of our alums kind of graduate into, but especially on the risk and on the investment side. There is a slowdown in the ESG kind of terminology part of it, but in
Okay,
reality, none of that is actually, I mean, all those, what's really happening is that all of those job titles have changed.
change. Okay,
That's it. The content of the job remains the same
okay.
because, especially in the US, it's politically, ESG is no longer a cool word.
Hmm.
So, but what's really happening is that the financial institutions have realized that uh, both the risk and the opportunity is generational.
Hmm.
And so I was at New York Climate Week, and I've been kind of hearing this from alumni as well who've been working in climate finance, that under the radar, without the title, the same thing is happening, which is
Right.
everyone is preparing for massive amount of transition finance happening.
Okay.
There are some incredible organizations which are connected to Terra itself. One, for example, called Climate Arc, that
Okay.
is actually doing a workshop as part of the next cohort coming up, which is talking
Okay.
about how banks and financial institutions across the world, not just in the US, across the world, are transitioning into climate finance,
Okay.
and lots of opportunities that are opening up from that.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank.
Carol, if you want to add, I do realize that we are running up against our time, so I'll let you respond. But I know there's a lot of other questions here. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to note all of these down and see if I can get back to you in the next couple of hours also. Carol, you want to take if you want to add to what I just said.
Yeah, I think that was great. I will say, like, the when I was going through this too, I was curious about climate finance and looking into the network of Terra alum that have gone into that space. And there's definitely a fair number, I think, that are working at some part of that intersection. Um, so yeah, I don't have too much more to add to it than that, but it has, I'm more working in the public funding space, I would say at the moment, which is a massive piece of the pie, especially in Europe. So I'm kind of getting my hands into it now, but we can definitely stay in touch if you continue to work in that area. And I have fellow friends that are going into climate VC and that
Hmm.
arena. So feel free to connect with me and maybe we can chat.
Oh, thanks, Caroline.
Nice, Carol. I think one thing, and also see Ice's comment about sustainable architecture and green building consulting. So one of the things that I probably did a poor job of talking about is that we have this incredibly high ownership community team who is literally obsessed with helping you connect with everyone across our. We actually have about 10,000 alumni because we run a bunch of other programs as well. And so therefore they would reach out to you, they would hound you and say, what are you looking for? Okay, let me find you these 4 people. And we have a community directory, et cetera, et cetera. But they will themselves personally try to find those connections for you. And it's an incredibly rich database of individuals. LFA, this program, for example, has had 3 billionaires go through the program. But we've also had Denmark's education minister. We've also had farmers, policymakers, lots of people in climate finance, even ex-oil and gas people, and so on. So it's a very eclectic community that you have full access to. And more importantly, it's a community that not only cares about themselves transitioning in climate, but to pull others in as well. So you would be surprised by how responsive they are to someone interested in kind of moving into climate. I know we are up against our time. There are lots of questions. I'll try to get back to them. But first of all, I really wanted to thank Yingting and Carol for taking the time. I know you have busy lives, but I really, really appreciate you dropping by. And
Yeah, pleasure.
thank you, everyone
Thank you so
else.
much.
Thanks for inviting me.
This is all, yeah, thank you. And this is all recorded. So we'll send this out to everyone also, and I'll try to get back to some of the questions that you have. But again, thank you so much. Again, remember the deadline for application is tomorrow night, and for payments is the day after that. So please do think about it and let us know. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.